Hey YouTube. So today is Tuesday, January 26th. Of course, that means Taco Tuesday. But I'm going to make some cassava flour tortilla shells, switching it up. And we also want to pay respect to Kobe Bryant. Today he passed away, and so I'm rocking my Laker jersey. So let's get in the video. Okay, so I will also post all of these ingredients in the description link, but the cassava flour, boy, was that a struggle to get. So, one thing you probably are going to need to buy a few of these items online. I got them from Whole Foods on Amazon. .com. So you can get the arrowroot spice, which is just for basically basting your parchment paper so the dough won't get sticky. You need some coconut oil, some apple cider vinegar, and some salt, and just some room temperature water. And I got this idea from the Amy Solutions AutoImmune Solutions Cookbook. And it's super helpful. Some salt, of course. And it's super helpful because you get all kind of different tricks and tools with like Living with Lupus diet, an autoimmune diet, I guess you can say. Okay, so I didn't want to drag this out really, so I'm just gonna fast forward through the process, but it literally is super simple, guys. So you just add 3/4 a cup of cassava flour, and somebody tell me if I'm saying this wrong because I have no idea how to pronounce this. And yeah, it's pretty much that simple. It's only 5 ingredients, and it's gluten-free, grain-free, nut-free. It's just the best type of bread you can do for an autoimmune deficiency diet. And then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of coconut flour. Make sure you do dry ingredients first and then wet ingredients. So now I'm adding my apple cider vinegar, and you're only going to do half a tablespoon of that. I melted my coconut oil, and you're going to do a tablespoon of coconut oil. Make sure it's melted. And again, always do your dry ingredients first and then add your wet. And then after that is literally just super simple. Add water. I added 3/4 a cup of filtered water, and then a tiny, teeny pinch of salt. I am not using a lot of salt because that's just, my diet. So I literally added like a small pinch. So yeah, you could just do that. And after that, you kind of really want to just work the dough. So the trick to making these cassava flour tortillas is that the dough has to be wet. Like it still should be wet. Don't usually like with bread and stuff you have to let it rise and stuff like that. Well, not with this one. You literally use it and fry it as soon as it's like moist and still wet and sticky and stuff like that. This consistency is definitely different from like regular dough that I've experienced with. Like I told you guys in one of my previous videos, I went to Italy, so I actually made pizza dough from scratch, and this dough was super moist, yes, but it was very like breakable. It was very easy to break apart, and I just had a feeling like maybe my tortillas were not going to turn out like tortillas. So I was kind of freaking out, but we got this. We don't stop over here at this channel. We keep it going. So after you have your dough, you want to just align your parchment paper on a cutting board or whatever board you use, and that's where your arrowroot comes from. So instead of using real flour so the dough won't get stuck on the parchment paper, we're going to use this arrowroot, and that should help prevent stickiness. So like I said, it was very breakable, like very like chalky kind of. And so the ingredients for this Amy Meyer's Autoimmune Solutions Cookbook says that it makes 6 tortillas, but that was not the case here. So yeah, but I did do it like the instructions, and I made my pretty little 6 dough buns, or like roly doly, whatever you want to call them. And so yeah, so I made the 6, and now I'm just going to start to put them on the parchment paper. Don't forget to dust because it will get very sticky. It's not easy to come off. It's a mess if you do not add this arrowroot to your parchment paper, because that really is. And also another trick, when you're rolling pin, which you could buy like at Dollar Tree or something like that, you also want to put the arrowroot on your roller, because that'll help it out. So just from a different angle so you guys can see what I'm doing, I put parchment paper on top as well, so it will prevent the sticky, so it'll prevent the, dough from rolling onto the rolling pin and getting stuck. So putting them on both the top and bottom, I just rolled it out, and it said, the direction said it can make 5-inch tortilla shells, but I don't know. I'm more of a media person. I'm not a very tech math savvy person, so I kind of just eyeballed the 5 inches, just to see, like, I'm like, if it's too thick, then maybe kind of keep them in and out. You want to start in the middle and work your way out. I learned that in Italy. Buongiorno. But yes, so, and then you have this pretty perfect flour tortilla. Oh my gosh, I did it. I'm so happy. Oh, yes. Okay, so now it's time to take it off. Now, here's where everything goes wrong. So, yeah, that's not the best solution. Don't try to just take it off the thing like that, because I told you guys it was super soft and fine, and it just continues to break apart. Maybe we could try to put it back together and it'll work. Yeah, maybe that'll work. Yeah, nope. It's not happening over here. Yeah. So I kind of got a little flustered, not gonna lie. I was like, okay, this video is gonna freaking suck. I don't know what I'm doing, and people are gonna stop watching. But like I said, on T's channel, we don't stop. We keep the moving and the grooving. So what did I do? Pick myself up like Aaliyah and try it again. So what we're going to do, and I found a super helpful way to do this. So yes, we're going to put two, roll your dough out again. Don't give up. Keep using the same dough. We're going to add that parchment paper again, and we're going to roll the tortilla out. Try again, start from the middle, work our way through, and until we get a nice flat 5-inch or so. Like I said, I'm not a mathematician. We're going to make it at least 5 inches flat, all around, until you see a nice little beautiful tortilla. And yeah, and so the trick to this is to, once you finish, it's super important to just take off the top parchment paper and leave that bottom parchment paper on it. Now, I'm like trying to do the same thing over, but then I realized, like, maybe I should just leave it on to the parchment paper, because it clearly keeps breaking every time I try to take it off, little by little. So my trick was to just leave it on the parchment paper. Make sure your oil is like hot and ready to go, like you're about to fry some tortillas, like tacos, whatever the case may be. And all you're gonna do is just flip it upside down. Yes. And look, boom. You've got a tortilla shell, and you did it all by yourself. Uh-huh. Ah. I was super hyped because it took me like forever. So now that your tortilla shell is on your skillet and it's in hot olive oil, probably medium heat. That's kind of like where I like to go. That's my safe space. And you're just gonna do it like a regular tortilla shell and cook it on both sides. Like, so one thing about it is I wish they were a little bit flatter, but honestly, it's the same type of texture, it's still bread. So I decided to not do tacos, and we did quesadillas because it was just a little bit small for the taco shells. So yep, you're gonna flip it over and just make sure both sides get nice and golden and crispy. And one thing about it is that when it gets crispy, it's literally a crisp. Like, talk about a good, nice tortilla shell. This is definitely it. And it's crazy because there's no gluten. And I am a tortilla fan. If you know, I live in LA, so everything is tacos. So this was it. You see how now it's so pretty and golden brown. Um, and honestly, you could save them. I only used 2 shells, but you can save them and use them for the next time. Highly recommend this dish, you guys. I made a quesadilla, but you can make whatever you want. It is so good, and you can still live and eat good with an autoimmune deficiency. Now, if you want to stay tuned for more, keep watching because I'm going to just talk a little bit about living with lupus and eating the tortilla to show you guys how it really tastes. So, I just finished trying to make the cassava flour, and honestly, it was pretty challenging. I would say that you have to really like roll out the dough, and it's like very easy to break down. Like it's very chalk-like. Um, but overall, I think it came out pretty good. I made a quesadilla. So let me just show y'all how it came out. And I was just gonna try the shell, try it out for y'all to see. You could try it at home for yourself. So I decided to try this out because I have a cookbook on my Kindle. I can't find it right now, but the Autoimmune Solutions Cookbook by Amy Myers. And she has a whole bunch of like gluten-free type of meals and ideas for breakfast, lunch, and dinner that is definitely recommended, and I'll probably post it in the description of this video. And yeah, but I just wanted to try it out for the first time with you guys because, yeah, why not? So I do have some, some hot sauce.
My nigga.
But first I'm gonna eat it just without it so I could really taste it, you know what I mean? It's a thicker shell, not necessarily like not a tortilla thick, but it's definitely like a thicker tortilla shell. And the cassava flour, I think that's what it's called. I think I've been saying it wrong this whole time, but cassava flour is super hard to get, by the way. So you might have to order this online, like me. But cassava flour, I don't know. And it's grain-free, gluten-free, and nut-free. And I know a lot of bread contains all of that, and tortilla shells especially. And I love tacos, I love quesadillas, clearly. And I think this is a great alternative. I decided to put this in my, sorry, this is good. I decided to put this in my Living with Lupus series because honestly, it's like easy to hear a lot of people and talk about like, oh, what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat. And if you go and are diagnosed with lupus, most of the times there's not a specific diet that they give you. Like if, say, for example, you had like diabetes or something, lupus, there's no strict specific diet for one person. It kind of depends on the people, but just some tips like for what in Amy Myers' book, she talks about how your immune system is connected to the way you eat. And a lot of the times the food that we eat now is filled with a lot of bad shit. So we're getting a whole bunch of everything. And people with lupus, our immune systems are compromised. So it's best to kind of balance it out. And a lot of these meals that she kind of writes down and lists as options to try for an autoimmune diet definitely supposed to balance your system out. And honestly, this was not a bad try. So I think I'm going to continue to try more of these recipes because this is pretty good. could get with it, with the autoimmune diet. It's definitely not easy, but this is something that's pretty good. It wasn't easy to make the shells at first. I talked more about it in my video in the voiceover, but once you get the hang of it, start rolling it out. It's crispy. It's just like a tortilla shell. Go get some cassava flour right now. And I'm not somebody who is just like super perfect and like, oh, I don't eat no meat, gluten-free, dairy-free, everything. You know what I mean? I'm not perfect, and I don't try to be, but I think now more than ever, I'm more cognizant of the fact that, you know, certain things are coming into my body and reacting, you know, negatively. So I'm trying to be more conscious and aware, and I think this is a good step because the cassava flour, the cassava flour is where it's at. Not chewy, and I thought it would be because the dough is like wet still because I made this as soon as I finished. I don't know what it's called, kneading the dough. So yeah, it didn't take long. But that ingredients, and I'll also list the recipe in my description. It it turned out pretty good. And I didn't bring a napkin. It's okay. I'm done anyway. Mm, 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 mm.